Previously on Chronicles of a Dreamer. What I'm about to share is over a year old, and some things have changed, but I thought it was worth revisiting. I started writing seriously at the age of 12 when I listened to the Pilgrim's Progress audio dramas. I was intrigued by the story. I emailed Mr. Pappas and asked him if he had any scripts for Mariana. Unbeknownst to him, I had already started writing my version of what I thought would happen. As I was writing, I began to implement an idea which I had dismissed as impossible, setting Mariana in the 21st century, without explaining too much, of course, because I would not want to take away from the spiritual nature of this incredible story. It was important to me at this point to begin the story in a slightly different place than the other two parts. I just wanted something else. After a time, I decided to return to the elements that made Pilgrim's Progress great in the first place. You know, I think out of all the things I've had happen to me, the hardest is when people close to me don't take me seriously. It's like they don't think there are people who actually do this, or maybe they think I won't be very successful. After all, Christian productions are not as successful as secular ones, right? Now, I realize that at this point I'm hardly successful, and this is probably due to the fact that none of my works are finished. But one has to finish them first. Yeah, I guess I get too impatient sometimes. That's probably one of the most important lessons to learn for being a writer or someone creative. Patience. You know, for a while it's going to be like nothing's happening, particularly if you're new to writing or you set out to write an allegory with no background experience, or you don't know how to schedule your writing times or whatever. It's always a challenge, I won't lie. Sometimes it can be downright depressing. And of course, the level of the challenge will probably depend on your personality. Like if you're someone who likes to see results almost instantly, it's gonna be kind of hard on you. And that's when you need to go to God and ask Him to help you learn whatever lesson He's trying to teach you through the hard times. I know I've been, I've let it get me down sometimes and get fooled into thinking that the way things are right now is the way that they're always going to be, and I'm always going to be right here, but that is not the case. I've asked myself how should one define success? In fact, I asked God one time, I've been looking at ways I can make money, and I don't want to be poor, and I want to be able to do this and that, no restrictions, so on and so forth. And, is that wrong? I mean, it's the world's way of looking at things, right? But is it wrong for me to think this way? And He said, well, not completely. I need to make a decent living, be able to make a decent living to support yourself and a family. But success is not measured in material things, but in how well you know me. And I believe that's the most important in any case. If it brings you closer to God, it's well worth it. I must say that writing about things that are bigger than me has helped me to mature. And being mature is not about talking big and sounding smart, although it's good to have a decent vocabulary. But being mature is realizing that you don't know everything, and that you need to listen to people, and most importantly, that you need God to be the master of your life, and the master of, well, if He's master of your life, He's going to be master of your writing too. So that's something I always come back to. I'm always constantly checking myself. How can I write something that will teach the things that He's sharing with me? Or even, in fact, sometimes the writing will help me to discover lessons, things that are valuable to know in life, and also to understand that once you've learned something, it's usually not just something you can just go and you'll never have another problem with it. But to realize that when you've learned a lesson, you've been shown a lesson, and you have come up with the same problem again, and you tend to get discouraged. Don't be. God's people historically went through a lot of that. The children of Israel, they had a lot of problems with murmuring and complaining and unbelief. Believe it or not, that is one of our biggest problems, is unbelief. It's a human problem, not just an Israelite problem. But God is still, He's very patient, and He's still leading even if it doesn't look like it. And even that lesson may have to come back again and again and again. But the fact of the matter is, God is for us, and the reason it comes back again is not because we're so terrible, but because He's trying to help us. And when we get it, things are always much better as we learn from successes and failures. And His ultimate goal is to get us to have more success with Him and how well we know Him and trust Him, because ultimately that's where we're going, right? He's preparing us for His kingdom. So these are just some of the things I've learned in writing, and I'm still learning. All right, that's all I've got. Thank you for listening.